like we have a good image. Let me just check again. Yeah, excellent connection. Let's go back to DCS. So yes, tonight we're going to be flying an EF-18 strike mission. So these are the Spanish Hornets that we're going to be flying. So here it says our Spanish squadron of EF-18 has been tasked with the destruction of parked aircraft at Gardelegen and supply vehicles west of Luchau. So stay out of range from the SA-2 and SA-8 near your targets. So that's going to be part of the challenge there. We have an AWACS, we have our radio frequencies for the base. We're going to be Springfield 1-1. We'll see afterwards if we feel like doing Squid 1-1 as well. But for the mission of Springfield 1-1 at waypoint 3, we will attack the parked L-39s and Mi-24 that are on the southern part of the airfield. If we take Squid 1-1, it attacks the planes that are on the northern side of it. And then on waypoint 5, which is a little further on the flight plan, we will attack the trucks and tents hidden in the trees. We'll see that in the pictures here. I'm going to cycle through them in just a moment. We suggest you climb after the attacks to avoid AAA while you return to base. There could be enemy MiGs in the area, so be careful. You may engage after ground attack. So that first picture here, I believe, is the target for Squid 1. That's their primary target. These here are my primary targets. So you can see a bunch of L-39s parked there. They're pretty much in a straight line. What we don't see on the photo here is there's an Mi-24 on that side of the runway as well. So I'll try to locate it and drop bombs on it as well. And if we can, maybe destroy some of these trucks as well that are parked near the planes. We'll be dropping Mark 83s on those targets. Now, this picture here shows the targets for the second area. It's like an airborne view of the target area. This is the target for Squid. This is the target for Springfield. So we're going to be Springfield. So our targets are going to be hidden in those trees. And that's the target for Squid. That's our target here. So you can see a few tents, a little bunker, sandbags, trucks. Might be some infantry in there as well. So this is the target we will attack with rockets. We'll pretty much like flood the whole area with rockets. And then once we're done, we'll move out of there. And so that's the plan there. I'll sort of hit the fly button. And then we can have a look around. So this is our airfield here. I've populated it a little bit with planes. I think there's a fire truck going by and one of those little tugs going by, so there's a little bit of life on the airfield. And this is going to be our plane. So as I said, we're flying a Hornet from Spain. Can turn maybe some of the lights on like this. And so in terms of a loadout, we have a centerline fuel tank. We have some Sparrow air-to-air missiles because this is like a Cold War era type of missions. So I didn't put a helmet mounted display on my pilot, as you can see. And we have dumb bombs and rockets plus AIM-9 mic sidewinders. So something that might have been available, like let's say in 1989. And so that's the loadout that we'll carry. Now if we go check out our map and hit the waypoints. So I wanted to make it similar to a mission I had made on the Syria map with some F-16s. In terms of how far we're flying, it's not super far, but it's similar to that mission I had made on the Syria map that I liked with the F-16. We have a rejoin waypoint because I initially flew this with my wingman. And then we have the IP for the first target, which is here. And if we put the satellite view, you'll see it's one of those grass runways that we have on the Cold War map. And my targets are going to be these here, but there's also an Mi-24 parked there. If we fly Squid later on, their targets like in that sort of line there. And there's an Su-25 that's smoking. Probably it landed after some damage, and therefore we'll spot that pretty easily. And you can see here there's an SA-2 site, there's an SA-13 ZSU. So I don't want to continue flying in that direction because that'll get me in trouble. So I'll probably go north or south to egress after my first attack. And then we'll see if we can continue afterwards to the next target. And we have at waypoint 4 our second IP, and we're going to attack the trucks here. As I said, they're hidden in that little forest area there. And then we'll fly home, and we'll try to climb to avoid the various AAA threats there, and hopefully make it back to base. And yeah, that's the plan for this little mission. There might be some air-to-air action as well, because there are some MiGs that are planned in the mission. So I know sometimes people like to see how I set up my cockpit when I first get in, so I like to start with this here. I like to put this on bypass because that's the method I use most of the time. Now we have the data cartridge. I'll have to make a data cartridge for the Cold War map, but I haven't really done so far, so we'll just use this. I'll turn on my data links. I don't really know if these were available back in 1989, but we'll just pretend they were. And so that's my flight plan. Here we're gonna go to our stores. For the rockets, I don't think I'll change anything. Sometimes I like to put it on salvo. Maybe I could do that. And then here I want CCIP and nose fuse. So now my bombs are set up. And I'll leave it on the bombs since I attack with those first. And we have a centerline fuel tank, so I like to pre-select it here and put the selector here. I'll have to move it one more notch if I want to eject it, like jettison with the red button. And we already set our lights when we were in the outside view. Here it looks good. I usually forget a few things. Like I said, we don't have the HMD, so I could just turn that knob to 0. And that should get us ready to go. So let's call the tower.
Springfield 8, request taxi to runway. Springfield 8, clear to taxi to runway 9.
Alright, so we're good to go. This is our jet. Trying to show you a little bit of the outside view there. Also to have a look at the beautiful scenery that we have here. Looks kind of nice. So here as we go past the tower, we'll see it says Partnership for Peace. It's not very windy, but the flags near the tower, you see some German flags, American flags, and so I guess that's the partnership. Where's the Spanish flag? We're Spanish planes. We're helping out too. Maybe I could give a little shout out if there are any Spanish viewers out there. Hola a todos mis amigos de España. I don't know how many Spanish viewers that I have. Maybe you could comment if you're enjoying this kind of display of Spanish aircraft. I like to use the Spanish Hornets, and when I fly the Mirage F1, if you take the EE version, it's actually a Spanish plane, so often we'll take that skin as well. So one of the things I will do prior to getting on the runway is I'm going to ask for permission to take off. And one of the things I've realized, sometimes I have difficulty with the tower trying to get them to respond to me or whatever, but what I've found is if I stop a little bit before the runway, like here, sometimes, you know, you'll see on the taxiway they'll have like a line to stop you. If I stop here and then I ask for takeoff, usually I'll get a better answer.
Springfield 8, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 29.66.
So we got our permission, and one of the things I've found is if I ask the same thing while the plane is rolling, it's like they don't respond, so I don't know. Maybe the guy in the tower has to see you wait for his permission. Alright, whatever it is, we're off, so running up now. Going full afterburner, gonna pull on the stick. And there she goes. Getting the gears up. Get our flaps up as well. And we'll be turning right for our first waypoint. Now if I wanted to make this like a really stealthy flight, I could have flown a little bit lower, and I think we would have enough fuel to do so. But one of the things I like to do when I'm dropping Mark 83s is to dive from fairly high. And it looks like we have clouds that are at about, I don't know, 10,000 feet or so. So we'll try to get just underneath the clouds and see what we can do from there. Probably after the first target, I'll fly a little bit lower since I'm going to be in an area covered by an SA-2 and possible SA-8s as well. So that's the plan. Just here, I'm going to increase the throttle just a little bit. Try to set myself just under those clouds there, probably around 9,000 feet or so. That's looking good. So we're going to set our barometric altitude hold. Gonna let the plane speed up a bit. I guess at 410 here I'll put the auto throttle on, that way we can just enjoy the scenery as we cruise along. This wonderful, beautiful plane. Cool looking Spanish jets. That'll make a nice screenshot. And now that we've taken the screenshot, since we're flying alone, we don't need all those lights, so that'll make us a little bit more stealthy. So lights are now off. And we just passed our first waypoint, so we're gonna head for our IP. Gonna turn the autopilot off. You can see there's a search radar in front of us in the HUD. It's an indication of that. That's probably for the SA2. And to our left, or at our 10 o'clock, there's an SA8 that looks like it's looking for targets. We climb back to our original altitude of about 9,000. And again, this IP allows us to align a little bit with the runway that we're going to attack. I'll probably need 2 passes to drop all my bombs because I know the Mi-24 is not lined up with the other planes. So we'll see what we do about that. My goal is more to be precise with my bombs than it is to do just one pass. When you're in boring parts of the flight like that, you can test your countermeasures, see if they work. So chaff and flares are working. Always good to know. And so we're 2 miles from the target, or from the IP, so we're going to switch to the target waypoint. Again, I'm going to get the autopilot off. Since we're 11 miles out, we should have already like an indication. Yeah, this is the grass airfield we're going to attack, and I think our planes are there. We can see the smoke that I talked about from the damaged Su-25 there. So yeah, that's our targets, and I think the Mi-24 is around there. So we're going to switch to air to ground. We're already master arm on. As you know me, I always like to have it on earlier than I'm supposed to. And we'll try to line up a little bit with the runway and taxiway so that, yeah. And as you can see now, the SA2 is going to start to paint me. So maybe as I head for the target, I could start transmitting with the ECM so that I jam the SA2 while I'm dropping bombs. So I'll do a little pop-up here, and then we'll dive on the targets. There they are. Looking good. And so, plop, plop. I think I went a little bit, yeah. I waited a little bit too long, so I'm gonna hit maybe just 1 or 2. Oh no, it looks like I was able to get a hit, and now we're defensive for the SA2, so we're gonna dive, put it on our, probably can't hit us, but I'm gonna turn that off. Then we'll head west again. But I still need to hit my Mi-24, and not too sure about the other planes, so I'm going to try to visually scan the sector here. Oh no, I think I got everything blown up pretty well there. So let's see, I think the Mi-24 is around here. dive for that. Those Mark 83s are pretty powerful. So yeah, is that the helicopter position? Trying to spot it.
Altitude. Altitude.
I don't see my helicopter. There it is. There we go. Bombs away. Boom. I guess that's a good hit. And so we'll switch to our next waypoint, which is the IP for the next target. But as you can see, I'm heading low because I don't want that SA2 to bother me too much. At this altitude, I should be alright. I'll just reduce the little warning thing here because it's going to beep beep in our ears all the way through the next target if we don't. So we've got good speed. We're military power more or less. I'm guessing now the enemy knows we're coming. I'm going to switch to our rockets. Now with the bombs I wanted to use CCIP, so I didn't designate my waypoint because then I would have had to drop them in auto mode or CCRP. I kind of prefer diving like you saw me do, and find it's a little bit more precise for the Hornet bomb drops. But now what I'll do is when I switch to the next waypoint, waypoint 5, I'll designate that target. So I'll have a diamond that will show up in my HUD, and then I can bring this pipper for the rockets around the diamond so that I hit my targets. It's nice when you have perfect intel and they put your waypoint right on the target, right? It's not always the case. Sometimes you just get a waypoint in the general sector where you need to attack something. For this one though, they've spotted them ahead of time for us. Now on my SA page here, you can see that we've just exited the circle for the SA2, but we're going to be very close to the SA8 circle when we go attack the next target, so I'll try not to stick around too long. So it shows we're, I guess, in the eastern part. It looks like Soviet era buildings here. A lot of those apartment blocks look like they are Soviet designed. This looks like it's the border here. There we go. So we're going in and out of the border. And we're almost at our waypoint, so we're going to switch now to waypoint 5. And we're only 8 miles out, so I'm going to start my pop-up right away. I'm going to drop a few chaff because I'm sure the SAA is going to be looking for me. Maybe even a few flares just in case. And now we're gonna designate our target like I said earlier, and we should have pretty precise location here in the HUD of where they are. And as you can see, if I zoom all the way in, you see the tents, the trucks. We're now in range, so we're gonna flood that area with rockets. And that's it. Looks like we have quite a few hits on targets. We can see that there are AAA tracers, so we're not gonna stick around too much. I thought about maybe going for a gun pass, but when I see that I'm getting fired at, I think it's better if we head back to base. So we'll climb to avoid extra AAA. We'll set this back to waypoint. And that's looking pretty good. As you can see, those rocket pods are empty. So what we could do, since we have an empty centerline tank and empty rocket pod, is we could do this and go to the outside view and watch them fall. And now we have a little bit of a cleaner airframe to get back home. So with that, I didn't check on my AWACS yet, so what do we have? AWACS?
Magic 3-1, Springfield 8, request bogey dope.
Almost as if on cue.
Magic 3-1, Rob, 061-445 at 6,000 knots.
Okay, so we have some potential bandits. 45 miles, we'll increase our radar range and try to go to 061, I guess is what they said. Yeah, there's something there. Is it Angel 6?
Magic 3-1, Rob, 065-445 at 6,000 knots.
So let's go to track while scan. Is that a false echo or yeah, I think it is. So yes, we've got a soft lock on this guy. Since we're using sparrows, that's why we get the Go STT mention here on the target, because you can't fire a sparrow if you're not in single target track. So I'm going to do that now, since it doesn't look like there were any other immediate threats in the area. We're going to dive to try to go meet his altitude. My sparrows are in loft mode, so they will probably get more range like that. I'll still wait until I'm like fairly close to them before I fire. I don't want to maneuver too close to the SA-8 that we see there, so I'm going to crank to the left. Drop a few chaff, try to confuse him if he's noticed me.
Magic 3-1, passing waypoint 4 at 27,000.
And now we're going to turn back towards him on an intercept course, 11 miles. Let's shoot our missile. Fox 1. Gonna switch to normal mode if we need to fire a second one, but I think we're gonna go to sidewinders if we need to shoot something else. So let's see how that goes. Dropping countermeasures.
Altitude.
Fox 2. And it looks like we're going to have ourselves a dogfight. Fox 2 again. Looks like this is gonna do it. Very good.
Altitude.
Okay, so we have a possible MiG-23 coming in from the east. So no time to joke around. Let's turn in that direction. Got something there on the radar. Gonna switch back to the... Where is he? Defensive. I don't know where he went, but this is his missile. Uh-oh. Okay, there he is. Turn the ECM on. Yeah, I think he got me there. I wasn't in the best of position, so he got me. Yeah. Yeah, I guess he had to use both of his Apex missiles to get me. But, that's part of the game. That's my plane falling down there. We're gonna see a nice explosion, I guess. Boom. All right. Well. Okay, I tried to hit the F2 key here, but I switched to. So I tell you what, we've lost one of our Hornets, but we still have another one. So maybe we could go back to base, go hit those targets that we're looking at right now. Now, what's happening is that my DCS has slowed down considerably. Okay. We'll take the second plane, Squid 8. Then we'll see if we can get revenge on that MiG or go bomb some other targets. So we'll do something similar to what we did with the first plane, but this time with a new plane. So turn the lights on. We're gonna get our countermeasures on, bypass, SA page, data link on. There we go. EW, flight plan. So this plane only has the Mark 83s. So the primary and secondary targets will be hit with those. I'll probably drop like 4 bombs on the airfield and 2 bombs on the second target. That should do the trick. So now that we've prepared everything like we did previously with the other plane,
Request taxi to runway.
we're gonna taxi.
Clear to taxi to runway 9.
So now of course I have to set some of my cockpit switches again. Nice. This is the nose wheel steering high. There we go. Turns a little bit faster. So yeah, those Sparrows are not like the AMRAAMs. It's not a fire and forget missile. You gotta keep lock when you wanna hit a target. I might have shot it a little bit early on that first MiG, and that threw me off a little bit for the second one where I couldn't get a lock in time. He had already fired at me. But we got 1 kill. We got a few more with airplanes on the ground. Gotta look at the positive side. What I'll try to do is, since the target we can see up here, he's 29 miles. After I take off, I'll maybe go look his way to see if I can get a Sparrow on him. I think I'm gonna just cut it short here. I don't think we'll need the whole runway for takeoff. I'm gonna cut the pleasantries with the tower. There's nobody else but me flying here, so we'll just take off and go. With a load of bombs, it's a bit dangerous, but I'll try to do an intercept. Let's try that. Airborne, gear up, flaps up. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna have a quick look at my thing here. Oh. It appears that my stream might have a little bit of buffering. I was having some issues on my end earlier, so maybe as the viewers you will get some too. Sorry about that. Hopefully the stream will go okay though. So now I'm trying to intercept this MiG-23 that shot me down the first time. I'm gonna wait a little longer before I shoot because I know he's fired his Apex missiles at me before. That gives me an advantage this time. And so Fox 1. Now he's maneuvering. And we hit him. And down he goes. Okay, so we've avenged our friend from the first flight. So that's good. So we'll get out of air-to-air mode and we'll resume our flights. I think I'm gonna head directly for my IP. And we'll set this up so that we can call the AWACS.
Magic 318, request bogey dope. Magic 31, clean.
So I have a clean picture. Just gonna go check again. Okay, so it seems this. There we go. I see in the comments there the C-101. It's one of the planes I've thought about possibly getting if it comes on sale eventually, but I've tried some of the trainer planes and they're usually not my favorite ones to fly. They're decent, I know, but I tried the L-39. I've flown a little bit with the Mirage F1 two-seater. Just remembered that there's an SA-8 right in the middle of my flight plan, which is why we had a waypoint going around it. So now he's trying to light us up. We're on the edge of his circle, so we're not really in danger, but something to certainly watch out for. So yeah, before I was lit up by that SA-8. I was talking about the C-101, and I have quite a few planes that I find I don't even have enough time to fly and learn properly. And so to embark on a new one with the MiG-29 coming, which I'm also debating should I purchase that one or not, because I have some MiGs, but I almost never fly them. I'd like to sometimes, but it's just I don't find the time. And right now I'm on vacation, so I should have the time, but I don't. Wonder if I turn to ECM if he'll shut up. Dropped a little bit of chaff. ECM is back on. Receive. He's probably just keeping an eye on me. Alright, so 11 miles from waypoint 2, we're going to have to start thinking about our ground targets. I just want to double check everything here is all good to go. It looks good. As I said, this plane only has the bombs, so I didn't really do like a whole tour around. And now it looks like our tank is empty, so we're going to drop the tank now. Down it goes. And since we're approaching enemy territory, we'll turn the lights off. There we go. A little bit stealthier like that. So we got to stay focused on our job, even if we lost a plane in the last one. Doesn't mean we're gonna lose another one. We wouldn't want that, right? Gonna stay just below the clouds. I'll just make it an early switch for the next waypoint. I don't know if we can visually spot it. Yes. You can see there's still some fire on some of the targets I hit earlier, and my main targets are going to be here, and there's another one there. So that's the plan. So let's switch air to ground. Still like to have my HSI for situational awareness. Helps me to know which direction I'm going. Here I could put this, because earlier the SA-2 was lighting me up as I dropped my bombs. So there he goes again. Altitude changes, and now we're gonna start our dive. Got a few fire trucks there, and we can see the two H's pretty easily, so that should help in our strike. Pickle, 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 and brake right. Drop chaff. So that takes care of that SA-2. Didn't get a chance to look behind me if I hit the targets. We do have to do another pass on the other Su-25 that's sparked on the northern side. So I think it's in that area here. Yeah, it's over there.
Altitude. Altitude.
You can see there the lone plane over there. I think I might have missed one of the helicopters. And pickle. look. Yeah, that's burning. What I'll do is I'll go to my stores page, turn that off. I'll do a quick gun pass on the helicopter, and then we'll go to our next target with our last 2 bombs. Guns, guns, guns. Kaboom. So that takes care of this airfield. I don't think there's much of anything left that's going to be able to fly here. Except maybe the gliders that we see. But those are civilian. Alright, so let's switch waypoint. Again, I'll be flying low to avoid the SA-2. Set this up in this plane, so I'll move it to about 150. Okay, so gun and 83. It says dud. Why does it say dud? No CCIP free fall. Dud. I don't like that. Style. CCIP. Maybe I'm flying too low to drop it, that's why. Let's just test that theory. If I climb above 1,000. Yeah, okay. Now it's no longer a dud. It's good to know those little details. Makes sense though, like you're not supposed to drop a 1,000-pound bomb below 1,000 feet because you could get shrapnel all over your airplane if you're flying straight and level right over it. That's why I like those dive bombings. I can turn after the bombs have left the plane and I can exit the danger area. So since I don't want to get too close to the SA-8, we saw earlier that it was a pesky little thing. I'm going to turn directly for the next waypoint. Hopefully I won't have too much AAA to deal with, but what I'll do is I'll climb a little bit to avoid AAA and whatever else the enemy might have. And then we'll go drop our last 2 bombs on the parked trucks in the field. What we'll do here, just for fun, as we climb, we're going to go to the F-10 map. We're going to look at that BTR-80 there. And maybe we could try to make a sort of damage assessment of the target. Yeah, there they are. So those were the targets I hit earlier. So most of the trucks are gone. So that's nice. And the targets I'm going to hit now, they're in a field somewhere. I'm not too sure actually where they are. I have to check the map again. Should have gone for that one. So if I go with that, okay, there they are. So those are the targets we're going to hit this time. Okay, so we've climbed fairly high. We're getting close. I'm going to go air to ground. like that. I won't do a waypoint designate this time for the simple reason that it's gonna switch from CCIP to CCRP if I do that. So we'll just hope that we have a visual. That's our target. So we'll go drop 2 bombs on that.
Altitude. Altitude.
Pickle, pickle. There they go. And I guess that's a shack on the target. So we'll drop some flares and chaff as we climb. That's going to look pretty good. We'll switch to the next waypoint. Bit slow, so we're gonna give it some throttle. We have plenty of fuel to make it back home.
Magic 3-1, passing waypoint 1 at 27,000.
I'm gonna go check on my broadcasts. Looks like it's doing a bit better than earlier, so hopefully you didn't get too much buffeting when my computer was having little issues. And we have some more aggressive MiGs coming in from the northeast, so let's head northeast just to have a look. So now I'm down to 1 Sparrow. Hopefully there's not too many of those enemies coming in. So Mr. AWACS, do you see anything?
Magic 3-1, 8, request bogey dope.
Something there.
8, Magic 3-1, clean.
It's telling me clean, but I do see something right there. Thank God for this little script. 060, 43 miles. Switch to track while scan. Maybe we'll keep it. Now we're in single target track. I want to just bug it. There we go. So again, I'm going to crank a little bit to the left this time, so that we can possibly... Yeah, the problem is that I'm out of my coverage now. There we go. So we'll keep it within the zone that our radar covers as the range decreases. I think for this one, I'm not going to go loft, I'm going to go normal. I'll just wait a little longer before I shoot. It's about 20 something miles now, 22. I'm guessing he doesn't really know we're coming yet, so try to keep stealthy. Still have our 2 sidewinders. Lately I've been practicing with my Mirage F1, trying to get some intercepts going, and it's very difficult. But then when you fly the EF-18, it becomes super easy because you have good equipment that really helps you shoot the enemy. Alright, so now we're gonna go STT, single target track, 8 miles, Fox 1.
Altitude.
And he's hit. And that's a good kill. He's down. Alright. So now the SAMs are having fun. So we're going to try to evade those guys as we head back home. Let's go back to our HSI. Yeah, we're not even in range for that SA-8, so maybe he was just trying to scare us off a little bit. But look, no more MiG. That's what we want. So I guess this time we'll be able to head back home. Like I did before, I'm gonna climb so that when I go over the front lines, I won't get hit by AAA. I'm in that area here, so it doesn't seem to be too much, but as you can see, that area here has a lot of AAAs. So if you fly too low, straight and level, thinking, I'm going back home, there's no danger. Oh, there is. So get above the clouds. Friend ahead. Guess I could put my radar back into range while scan. That way it won't light up the friendlies. But yes, there's an AWACS there somewhere. Fuel is good. We should make it no problem. So there we go. We hit pretty much all our ground targets. You can see some of the other parked planes. Now it should be showing us the AWACS, but it took a long time to load. Those are the Mirages that were the AWACS escorts, but I guess they've already returned home. And we're back to our plane. With the little chicken on the fin. I kind of like that graphic there. Makes it look kind of funny. It's a good looking jet. One of the problems with my mission is I think I set my waypoint there, which is normally to guide me on final. Set it in the wrong place. I'm gonna have to put it on the other side here because I think the active runway is 09 and now we're heading in the opposite direction. So I'll put my waypoint on the airfield. And we're getting pretty close. I guess we can see it through the clouds there. And so on my second radio here, channel 1 is on the airfield frequency, so we'll call the airfield fastball inbound.
Inbound.
Yeah, they want us to use runway 09, which is the one we used when we took off, so makes sense. It's just I'm gonna have to rework my waypoints so that they make sense as well. So we're not landing in that direction, we're landing in the other direction like this. And we can see our parking here where we started. So that's where we're going. Air brakes out.
Altitude. Altitude.
When we land on the carrier at this point, we could probably turn around to go land, but this is not a moving ship, so we'll just take our time. Make sure we have plenty of room to line up. I will get the flaps and gear down. Still a bit high. I'm gonna go full flaps. I'm letting the plane drop like a rock right now. We'll add a little throttle. There we go. Feet on the pedals.
Check landing gear. Runway 09.
I was about to ask for permission, but he gave it to me before I could ask. At this point, you can almost like let go of the controls and the plane flies itself. But I still want to get lined up properly, so I will resume control. Touchdown, air brake out. Get a nice smooth landing. Turn at the next taxiway and head for our parking spot. So I guess we brought one of the two planes back. So yeah, that first plane received a lesson in humility, with me included as the pilot for that plane, by a MiG-23 that fired before I could fire. And that's because we're using old missiles, and therefore it levels the playing field a little bit. I was quite happy with the first plane that I was able to get that dogfight kill on a MiG-21, because everybody knows that the AI MiG-21s in DCS are sort of like they've got unlimited energy at times, so I was able to maneuver to get behind them to shoot a Sidewinder, so that was kind of good. But maybe I was too elated with my victory to concentrate properly to get a kill on the 23. And then I became defensive, and then at that point you're just trying to survive a few more seconds until they deliver the killing punch.
Magic 3-1, passing waypoint 3 at 27,000.
So I'll try to go park more or less where we started. One of the things I'm not too crazy about at this particular airfield is where you have those little circles where you can park the plane. Behind the parking spots, you can see those little things that looks like they got plugs or whatever on those. I don't know what those are for, but they prevent you from really lining up well with your parking spot. If you look at this spot, this is the spot for the first plane I took, and I'd have to go in between this and this if I want to go park there. So I'll go use the next one, but it's the same problem. I got this guy right there. So we'll go park to the other, next to the other Hornet, but I have to sort of turn at the last moment. Trying to make sure I don't hit anything. That should be good. I guess we'll be able to do a pretty good job after all. So let's turn our nose here. Face the French Mirage in front of us. Maybe line our cockpit with the one of the other Hornet there. I think that's going to look alright. It's pretty decent parking. And so let's call for wheel chocks.
Chief, place the wheel chocks.
Kind of hard to see the radio menu with the light colored sky.
Wheel chocks are now in place.
So wheel chocks are in place. I kind of like to pull my brakes here, and then we can do the lazy shutdown, and we'll watch it from the cockpit this time as everything gets turned off and the cockpit opens. Now this particular object is one of the Masson objects that we've had added to DCS recently. I put that one in, but all these other things here, these cones, this little thing, these things to pull aircraft, all of this was there. I added this guy, this fire extinguisher, and this little member of the ground personnel there. I added these, of course. But like those fire trucks, they come with a map. These vehicles there, these things. This, all of this over there, it's all part of the map. This I added. Of course, the planes I added. But it's a pretty immersive environment. You know, after you've landed, you look at what's around it. It looks like an airfield that has some activity, and I like how you have those little oil spots. If you look underneath the A10 here, you see little oil spots, and some of the circles have more, some have less. It shows that the airfield is in use. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the little flight. Not super happy about losing a plane, but the enemy lost more than we did, so it's always a good way to look at things. Now if I go here, there's the little truck there that's still alive. So if I go F7, you see there are gliders there too. That makes the environment look kind of nice. But yes, there was an Mi-24 here that I bombed. I don't think this is ever going to fly again. And then these L-39s, there's spare parts now. Same thing for those that were parked here, spare parts. So that was with the first plane. And then here on the other side we had an Su-25 here, and we only have parts. Here we have the Mi-8 helicopter that I shot with guns, Mi-24 and Su-25 that I destroyed with bombs. I even destroyed their fire trucks, so nothing left here much to have any military type of power there. And here we still have some vehicles. So let's have a look. This fuel truck is still alive, but the other ones and the tents and the sandbags have been hit pretty hard. And on the other target there's one Ural that looks like it got away. And there's that tent there that's still standing. The other tent is gone. The other trucks didn't make it. And you can see some soldiers on the ground, so they didn't make it either. So apart from that ammunition truck and the other fuel truck on the other thing, there's not much left. So for air-to-ground attack, I'd say great job. Air-to-air, well, I lost a plane, but I killed 3. So that's all right. So there, one last little look at the plane, and hope you enjoyed the little flight. Cool handout.